Welcome to our war video on conducting a turn of the game. We're going to take up immediately where we left off with the last video showing the placement of hostiles. And Ben chose to use an action from his 308th Battalion, and he is now ready to start doing his turn.
Yep. So the 308 Battalion activated this location, and it falls to their activation first. I need to finish the 308's turn before I move to anyone else's. So I can't stop in the middle and then do one of 310's action. I need to do 308's. So I'm going to spend a action to attack, spend a supply to make the attack, and I'm going to be targeting the artillery company all the way out in the marsh and trying to see if I can at least move them into their lower stat block before they can attack. Ooh, and I got just enough. A 7 is exactly what I needed on my D10, so I apply a hit and a pin to the artillery company.
Good shot.
And so that was one of my first unit's activation. Now it's on to their first unit's activation, which is their artillery. I'll put a little acted by them so we know that they've gone. And they're going to be doing one attack versus the fewest pin ally. None of my units have any pins. So I think I'm going to have them target the 311th. They rolled a 6, and in their lower stat block, that means that they are just removing a pin and applying a pin onto me because they defeated my cover. And that's their go. Now it's back to me on my first guy's steps. I'm going to activate my mechanized scout unit. He is going to try and move into the farmland. It currently has an entrance of 5 because of the scout mechanized, and my mechanized has an entrance of 4, so I'm going to discard one of my action cards, and the scout mechanized can move into the farmland, and doing so, he has a scout value of 2, which means I can place 2 pins on any unit in this location. I'm going to apply them on this mechanized mayor unit.
And if you wanted to, you could choose to put 1 pin on their mechanized and remove 1 pin from your 311th. Just, that is an option if you wanted to do it. It's a total of 2 additions or removals.
In order for that to work, the 311th would need to be in the farmland, though. But yes, I could remove
you are
pins
right.
from my units.
You are right.
Okay. Back to me, because even though one of my units go, it's still the first step, and because they have no first hostiles, it is back to me again. So I'm going to activate this 3/10th, trying to get him into the farmland so he can do some actions, and I have to discard 3 cards, bringing me down to virtually no action cards in hand. He's going to move up and try and do some damage on this weakened mechanized that's been scouted. I have pretty good odds. I'm at a +4/+2, so I only need a 3/2 in order to hit. Fortunately, I only defeat cover there. That 2 is too low to hit, so I apply 1 pin, spend an action for that attack. I'm also going to use a free infantry attack in order to try and get 1 wound on them at least. And look at that. That's 1 wound applied to the mechanized.
Yeah, at this point you've got really good attacks because you're hitting him at +6/+3.
But now he gets to activate his defense ability. So he pays a supply and rolls a d10 to see if the wound is stopped. Ooh, but luckily for me, he was not defensive enough, so the wound sticks. Okay, so that's all of my first guys that have gone. Now
it looks like you also have an infantry attack action skill card.
Yes, yes. I played that. Here, I will grab that for you. So yes, I used one action to move in, one action to attack that applied this pin, and then I used this action card that gave me a free infantry attack to apply the wound.
Oh, I was talking
So,
about the infantry attack skill card.
oh yes, I almost forgot about the skill. I can flip this counter, giving me a free attack action on the mechanized. Hopefully, this will bring it to its lower stack block. That 2 gets 6 added to it, which brings it up to 8, which is enough to still do a wound. They have no supplies left to do defense, so they are officially in their lower stat block now.
Awesome, great attack.
All right, and that's all of my first guys who have gone all of their first. So now we move on to the regular guys attack step, which would be the 311th. Now, I'd like to move the 311th into the farmland. Unfortunately, I don't have the action cards to do so. So the 311th is just going to spend one action to remove their pin and just hang out for the rest of their turn. So now it's on to them, their regular guys, which includes this mechanized unit. They are targeting an infantry, and I am going to choose the 311th for them to target. So they get one action to attack, and they are looking for a 7. But they do not get it. They apply a pin to me, and at this point, my infantry has their defense. Defense can be activated for either pins or hits if you'd like. So if I don't want to deal with this pin, I could pay a supply and try and get a 7+. Unfortunately, I just rolled a 3, so the pin stays. Okay, and that's the mechanized's turn. Now it's on to the last step of the unit. So I go down to my 709th. This tank is last, and I get to choose what to shoot at. Now, I'm at a bit of a difficult decision, as I'd like to move in to save the infra on this farmland card. I would like those supplies at the end of the turn, but still don't have the action cards to do so. So I will attack from range, suffering my -2/-2, but I'm targeting this mechanized, which has lots of pins, which should counter it out. Let's see how the attack goes. Okay, so a 4 plus 4 brings us up to 8, and I do have enough cover, enough penetration to get through their cover, so that is another wound on the mechanized. And then one more attack for this turn on the mechanized. A 4/6, another wound, bringing down the mechanized, gaining 3 XP.
So the good news is you shelled their mechanized from a distance with your tanks, took them out, but in the meantime you tore up the infrastructure of the farmland. And since you did 2 attacks, that reduces infrastructure by 2. So when you do eliminate all of the hostiles from the farmland, you won't gain any supplies.
Yep. Okay, and now that my last hostile is gone, it's their turn for their last hostile to go, and they will be targeting the lowest RP in their location, and between the 310th and the 83rd, they're going to target the 83rd. But luckily, it has a pretty high cover, but it does not matter to them. They burst through the cover, get enough to wound, so I place 1 wound on my mechanized. And that
And
covers the first turn. In terms
now
of
they got a
actions.
really lucky penetration die roll. If
Mm-hmm.
you had thought that the 83rd was in significant danger, you could have had the 310th throw off a supply to redirect the attack to them, but there was really no reason to think that that little scout unit was going to put out such a deadly attack, so you chose not to.
Exactly, yeah. And yeah, I wouldn't. I also don't want my player soldier to be wounded too much because I still need those action cards.
Right.
But I do have the chance of the engineering company to gain this engineering obstacle of regaining 1, that might help the mechanized just so it's not in the 1 hit from dead range, just to have a little bit of safety.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, that's everything we can really do in the first turn. We could cover the infantry battalion as well if you'd like, but that depends.
Yeah, I think that the 2 attached units to the 310th, they do get their own activations, but they would have acted during the first step. And at that time, the 310th wasn't in combat range. They weren't in an engineering, so they will be able to go during this next turn of combat now that your 310th is actually in that card.
Yeah. And yeah,
But
then they'll be handy of just a basic 1 action attack. Yeah.
Okay. I think that pretty much wraps up this game turn.
I think so too.